professionals looking to build their business is finding their niche and their branding. And so many people, it just doesn't resonate. For me personally, it did when I did my research on probate and decided how I wanted to attack it, where my strengths were, what I was good at, and what I enjoyed, where the market also had a need, it fell into place. And I was talking a few months ago and had the chance to learn more about Melanie Hans, who is the probate nurse. And so both for learning about being successful in probate business, and I think also how to find a way to hang a brand and or a niche on you that's going to fit and feel good. I guess kind of like a nice piece of clothing. She agreed to come on today. So Melanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So real quick, where are you from? Where do you do business today?
So I'm in Tampa on the north end. So Tampa, St. Pete.
Very good. I was in Tampa in 1985. We drove overnight, got there just in time for a hurricane that hit, and we drove out before got locked in and went back. I was living in Boca Raton at the time. So that's my only experience in Tampa was drove in, checked in the hotel, and then drove home racing away from a hurricane.
I think I was here at that time too.
Wow.
I was really young. Yeah, I think I was here in 85. And then I left.
So a lot of people joke about Florida being nothing but seniors, and of course it's not. I mean, there are plenty of people retired, there's plenty of people who don't. So how did you end up addressing probate as a business? What was it that turned you into that particular niche?
So, being a nurse, our role is always caring for people. And as I entered real estate, I started as an investor first. And I just really came across these types of leads. They were brought to me by one of my mentors. And he said, Melanie, I think you'd be really good at probate leads. Now, this was back like in probably 13 or 14. And I was really, really new at the time and really hadn't done any deals. So that's kind of how I got into it. And down here, from our previous conversations, that my family had 3 recent losses and we had gone through 3 hospice situations, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And as I was journeying through that, I saw a lot of things that were missing, a lot of pieces of the puzzle that just weren't there. And so as I was taking care of my father, I just started taking notes and reaching out to people and started building a network. And so that's really how it happened. And I just kind of fell into it, to be honest with you.
Well, and I think, like a lot of people, they say it's scratching your own itch. And I think that sounds like what you did. I know for me and myself, the same thing. I lost both my parents and my wife through a marriage. We lost both of her parents. And you go through that from different angles and you start to realize how difficult it is, how hard it is, how debilitating it can be. And so now, where did the nurse part come into the process? I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't paying attention to that. I know the real estate part, but is it your probate nurse or were you a nurse or how did that work into the business?
Yeah, so I'm from Detroit originally and I've been a nurse since
Whoa. Do you know Al Abdallah? Because I think he sells all the houses in Detroit, Michigan.
Who is that?
Al Abdallah is on the call and he is, I think, the realtor in Detroit, Michigan, or Dearborn, I think. Okay. Anyhow, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so question again. So from Detroit, and I was a nurse for many, many years. I started in 89 and I started up in the Detroit Medical Center. And I did open heart surgery. I was in the operating room and did a lot of things that I really loved. And then I went to, got out of that to do pharmaceutical sales. And that's what I really, really wanted to do. So nursing has been wonderful. It's been a wonderful tool. We can do many things. And one thing that I will say is that you'll always have a job with that. And, doing the pharmaceutical sales kind of set me up for what I'm doing now. So it's kind of a nice combination of all 3.
So one of the interesting things at the time that I met you, my wife was battling cancer a year and a half ago. She started the battle. And for now, we won. She's cancer-free as of about 3 weeks ago. Thank you. Thank God. And the process, you really come to realize how important the nurses are. Up to most of my life, the nurse was just some woman in the room. And actually, when I grew up, it was a woman. Now it's women and men. It's certainly much more mixed. And you realize that when you're in the hospital regularly, that the primary interaction is the nurse. And it's like a hierarchy of nurses, right? There's the nurses in the room, and then there's the head charge nurse, and then there's a specialist nurse, and there's this kind of a nurse. Right. So talk about the relationship patients have with nurses. It's not just like a service position. It really is an authority and a educational position.
Absolutely. I was just going to say it's absolutely up on the educational end of things. Even though you're running in and out of the room, you're looking at your client, and make sure they get their medication and they're getting their lab work and all that. You're the one that's relaying all the diagnostics and preparing them for whatever tests they have going on, as well as teaching them about discharge instructions, what they need to do when they go home, as well as the pharmaceutical end of it too. So it's tons of work. But the education is everything for our clients, especially on the cardiac floor that I started on in Detroit. So
cardiac floor. Okay.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's not just bunions and scrapes and Band-Aids, I guess.
No, I was at the Detroit Medical Center, and we were affiliated with Wayne State University. So we had doctors in from all over the world and just incredible amounts of, specialties. So yeah, quite the education there.
And that's the other thing I think has changed immensely in my lifetime is how specialized everything has become. Doctors and nurses really special. The nurses in the cancer ward are notch up from the average, and then the OB, not the pediatric nurses, like I think another level up. It just seems like so. There's definitely a hierarchy or various hierarchies within that business, and supervisory nurses are as regular. So there's a lot of it's a command position, and I think that's then lends itself the name. If you have experiences with nurses, trust and care and all that. So how did you think to translate that into probate?
Well, having been through it myself, it's that compassion and empathy and integrity, all those things that come with nursing, I was able to transfer over to that. And there's just a relatability, with clients or potential clients, you're just speaking to them on the phone that, they hear that you're a nurse and they just have a vision. It could be good or bad of you, but the people that are really interested in what you're doing think compassion and integrity and knowledge. So
I think so. So before we go on, just some housekeeping real quick. This is Probate Weekly. We do this every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We live stream it onto YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you want to come in live on the Zoom, register at probateweekly.com. Otherwise, you can find it in social medias at Bill Gross Probate on the various social medias. Love to have you participate. And if you want to sign up, it's just a simple process online. Probateweekly.com is the website you go to. And then if you want to, whether you sign up or not, for free, we have a Facebook group. Probate Weekly is the name of it. We have 2,900, almost 3,000. Help me get to 3,000 members. But what we do here is a couple of things. Number one, post your content and you'll get more views and likes and follows and feedback. I built my social media by posting content on other people's sites as well as my own company sites. Use this as long as it's probate related, which includes estate planning in this case. Love to have you post your content there. Look for referrals for attorneys, look for referrals for real estate agents around the country. Post good vendors that relate specifically to probate. And then you have different, and we have customers that come in and I post my content as well. So that's Probate Weekly. Love to have you come. And then again, today our guest is the probatenurse.com. There's your contact info, and we'll post that in the description notes down below. Love to have you participate. If you're on the Zoom call, the whole point of this is to be participative. Now, we could just do it onto YouTube and stream it, record it, and send it out to everybody. I do that in other podcasts because it wasn't participative. This one, I envision this being a mastermind group where we get together, where we have a chance to learn, we have a chance to educate ourselves, we have a chance to share. And if just those of us on this call work together effectively, we would dominate the market, right? And that's what real estate really is about collaboration and working together. Melanie and I don't have any real business relationship. I'm not selling this call. She's not selling a book. We're just here both trying to improve our business, learn from each other, push each other. I invite you to join us in the process. So Melanie, tell me about what was it you found the idea of probate, but how did you connect that to your real estate practice? And then what did you do to get started to connect the probate to your real estate?
Yeah, so I'm a member of the Tampa RIA, the real estate investment group here. And I joined them a couple of years back and started going to their meetings every month. And then I would do their educational forums, and probate popped up. And this is back probably about 5 years ago. And I thought this is really kind of cool. And, I had done a little bit in Detroit, and it just kind of fell into my lap. And so I went ahead and signed up for their weekend courses and got educated on that. And then kind of fast forward to today, more current time, I found Chad's program, Probate Mastery, online, and it was a fluke again. And I signed up for that and I took it, and I just kind of felt immediately like, oh, this is for me. This kind of encompasses everything that I've been setting out to do, and I love conventional real estate, don't get me wrong, but this really for me was just something that was really missing in my business, So that's kind of how it started. I did Probate Mastery and did the program. And then I started getting leads and sending out letters and did a couple of deals. And that's kind of how it started.
So a little history. Chad Corbett was the founder of Probate Mastery. I put a link in the chat box to the programs and such that she's referring to. He actually, before that, was the coach at alltheleads.com. And that's where I met him and took his class. And similarly, I was really moved by the compassion and by the professionalism, by the high standards I think that he set. And I took Probate Mastery 4.5 years ago. I had relaunched my career from zero to the last 4 years, having a really great business. And I think that, and then he moved and founded Probate Mastery as a company and just recently retired from it and turned over to Bruce Hill, who was a coach at All the Leads. The whole thing's kind of convoluted. I'm the coach over there for their weekly coaching program as well. I don't get paid for that. I'm just leading the mastermind, and I enjoy doing that quite a bit. But we both so Melanie and I both come from the same, that's a long way of saying, we both come from the same background. And we both come from appreciating, I think it's important to be professional, and it's important to come from a point of caring and being helping. So what do you see you doing differently as a realtor than you might have otherwise, but for what you learned on Chad's program? Specifically, like how do you work as a real estate agent differently? I get you come from caring and compassion, but what's that look like differently than the average realtor who might be competing with you?
Yeah, just really, again, aside from the empathy and compassion, just really, bringing a different take to them listing their home or selling their home. We can bring multiple options to them. So we can work with them to sell their house as is. We can bring contractors in, because I do work with investors and I'm one myself. So we have a little bit of that leg up with them in terms of what we can bring. In my history of rehabbing homes and being a landlord, I'm able to kind of tailor what their needs are. And the first thing that I really look at with my clients, and a lot of real estate agents don't do that, is I look at their finances, where they are. Is it a spouse? Is it, a child? Is it two siblings? And, and kind of figure out where they are. And if they're out of town, we try to figure out a situation for them. Typically right around that 6-month mark, as if they're paying the mortgage, if they're paying, for landscaping and pool and, air conditioning, everything down here, they get a little bit drained. So we can come in and just tell them, hey, we can help you with those items, with the care of the home and whatnot. And we can also get you money if you need that. We can help you with your paperwork. I have a list of things that you can do. I have a checklist for you. And most agents don't have that. So we've got the resources. We've got all of our referral partners, and we bring that to the table. And I write out at least 4 or 5 different options to help them sell their home.
So again, I think that comes from partially your background as an investor helps quite a bit, but it's almost like you're taking a holistic, comprehensive view of your customer, like a nurse might with a patient, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the part that comes across to me, is that you're trying to set yourself to a high standard, and you have that approach with multiple things. And then those of you who are watching on the live stream, feel free to put questions or comments there as well. I see we have people on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're there, why don't you say hi, put your name and number in. If you have a question, I'll monitor that live, and we'll go ahead and try to get those questions in. Those of you who are live in the Zoom as well, please raise your hand or put a question in the chat box. I'd love to have you guys participate. That's why we do this. So let's talk about the name, the probate nurse. What was it that gave you I get you were a nurse, you can approach it from a caring point of view, but to put that name on as a brand takes a bit of courage. You're putting yourself out there a little bit. So tell me about that, before that decision, and how you made it and how that's worked for you since.
It just came together. It just really came together. Being in the pharma and having that background of marketing, trying to think how I can separate myself from investors as well as agents and whatnot. And I thought, if I put those two together, those 2 words are going to make it huge. But it also, what it does, probate, people kind of know what that is. If they don't know, they kind of know. And nurse, of course, people know. But when you combine them, people go, well, the probate nurse, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So that's why I chose it, because what it does is it raises the question. from people like, well, what is that? And what do you do? And it opens up dialogue.
Isn't that your
So-
favorite question? What do you do?
What's that?
Is that your favorite question? What do you do?
Yeah. What do you do?
You
Let
bring
me
a crash
tell
card in, you have a little oxygen tank thing, and
Yeah, I have showed up at events with my white lab jacket on
love
and
it.
my name tag, and people are like, what are you doing? I go to these senior expos here in St. Pete, and I show up and people stop and they look at you, and like, what are you doing? So, and I have scrubs
it.
on. It's pretty
I
cool.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, definitely a
My-
branding thing. Yeah.
My sister-in-law is a midwife. I didn't really know what a midwife was. I just thought you hang around in the hospital when the doctor's there and he walks out and you're helping the mother. No. She's in lieu of a doctor, and she's in Israel where it's common in lieu of a doctor. She's like suturing, and she's, has oxygen tanks, and has forceps, and has like, whoa. And she started getting all the graphic details. I'm like, whoa, hold on, I'm a guy. We don't really talk about that stuff. So I do think that the nurse and the name, it does provoke questions. Of course, you want people to ask you questions about that. I love the brand. Have you had any pushback? Have you had anybody who say, gee, that seems wrong or inappropriate, or none at all? Did you?
Not at all. No. I love it. I really love that name. Wow, where'd you get that? So it really is. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it works.
And when you first got it and tested it, did it feel right away, or take a while to grow on you?
It absolutely felt 100% right. And when I really discovered that was when I was making that website that you just showed. And I started doing my bio and writing out everything. And it's all on my website if you guys want to check that out. It just felt so right. It just felt so right. And one of the quotes where it says about us or about me, it starts with a quote about nursing and nurses. And it's really, it felt like the right fit.
I think the thing, so I personally went through rebranding myself when I relaunched 4.5 years ago. And then I changed recently from kind of my social media tag from @BillGrossEXP to @BillGrossProbate. That was a minor change. But when I found probate and the way that I put my plan together, somebody said to me, when you find the right voice, it will fit you. And it just fit me right away. I spent a couple of days kind of lining out what that meant, like, what do I do with it? But I've never had any second thought on that. And I think that's the thing I tell people is you need to put the work in to find that right voice. Maybe you stumble on it, maybe you don't. It took me probably, a week before I really felt comfortable with what I wanted to do and the name. I spent hours a day, like 1 or 2 hours a day, really working on it. How long did it take you to go from, I'm just a realtor who'd been a nurse, to the probate nurse? What was the process that led you through there, or it just popped in your head one day? How'd that happen?
I jumped in. I literally just jumped right in. I was doing regular real estate, conventional real estate. And then my mother became ill. And so I had to step back. I stepped back from my business, got back in, and had to step back out again when my dad and brother both became ill, literally days apart. So I've had to rebrand myself, a couple of times. I just say, the name is there, but I stepped back and I wasn't really posting, and I wasn't actively seeking out clients, and I wasn't doing my letters. I literally was falling apart. So I stepped back and I regrouped, and we are relaunching as of now, to be honest.
Okay. But when you took on the name the first time, did you just one day say, probate nurse? Or did you think about it for a while? Like, how did you actually, did somebody tell you need to brand yourself? You need to find a niche? How was it you got from doing real estate to being the probate nurse?
Well, again, I wanted something that was going to really set me apart from everybody. And, and I started doing these probate cases a little while ago, and it just made sense. I mean, it was just kind of like, let's just go. And I talked to my broker about it, and I showed him my trifold and whatnot. He's like, that's really, really good. And, and it does bring an awareness to, the section of real estate that's really not paid a whole lot of attention to.
Yeah.
A lot of realtors don't want to do it. So, I literally just jumped right in. I didn't even hesitate. I just switched over. There was no thinking about it. I just did it and I launched it, and that was that.
So you're the bad example, because out there I know several people who I've tried to help to find their niche. And most of us, unlike you, I believe you have to go through a process to really figure it out. There's a process you can go through. My coach was Don Hobbs, who was a long time real estate marketing coach. He was with Tony Robbins. He was with Success Magazine, past president. And, I went to a presentation for about an hour and a half to explain what branding was. It's called The Brand Is You. In fact, I'll post it in the YouTube channel. And it wasn't that it was that fantastic a presentation, meaning it wasn't that he said anything that was that amazing. The brand called you. It was that I took the time in his class to pay attention. And because of that, I spent the time afterwards to really think it through a couple of different options that came across it. So anybody, I would recommend watching that video and spending some time watching it, taking some notes. I also did a mastermind group for Probate Mastery. I think that's still available. If you want to purchase it, I don't get paid for it. I just did it because it was fun to do, on how to find your niche. I think it's really important. And again, the thing I will say, you can see in Melanie's eyes when she talks about it, when you find that voice, it just resonates. I mean, it's kind of like when I sing in the shower, I sound so good, I know I don't really sound that good in real life, but in business, I think, when I hit on, for me, again, this is for me, it's not for you, the LA Probate expert, it really fit and helped me take my business from where it was to the level I've got to. So fantastic. Okay, who's got questions? I know a number of you have struggled with this. I know because I've talked to you and you've told me you have. So how can we help you? Here you have somebody who has dramatically changed the business and has, I think, created a really worthy value proposition. How can we help you with that business? And I'm looking, if you're on the Zoom call, I'd love to have you raise your hand or put in the chat box. And if you're on the social medias, love to have you. There you go. Love the branding and niche marketing. I get that from Facebook. Yeah, I think, let me ask you this. How do you feel when you see your branding?
I like it. I really like it. I love my logo. I actually have two. I use them interchangeably, but the one I really love, it's got the chain, with the house keys on it in the house, but it also really represents nursing. And I love it. So it combines the two. So when I look at it, I feel good about it, Yeah.
Look at her, just stop and look at her smile. Like, for those of us who find real estate at times, look, at times this business is tough. I've got some tough escrows. I'm blessed. I've got money. I got money in the bank, business bank account. I got pending escrows. I have good leads. I got nothing to complain about. It's a tough business, okay? But when you're doing something you love for a good part of it, look how she lights up. We all should have that. We should all feel that way. And that gives you, I think, the confidence to talk to customers and feel good about it. Big Al Abdallah from Dearborn near Detroit, Michigan. What is up? Let's get you unmuted. And you got a question.
First of all, I think you're giving a lot of great content, a lot of great information. I love the name. I love the brand. I named one of my realtors a real estate doctor because his last name in Arabic is the doctor. So I just told him to become the real estate doctor. But
Awesome.
if I'm putting a brand together and you're not putting the word realtor in the name probate nurse, do people reach out to you also thinking you do just probate, like estates and like kind of like what attorneys do and whatnot, or do they know you're automatically a realtor?
They really didn't know that otherwise. They really wouldn't, because I don't put that in my marketing. So, when I call people, I say I am, I'm the probate nurse. What we do is we work with the community. I got your name and number from community resources. We reach out to people who are going through probate. So what I'm doing is a lot of videos now. And my taglines are going to be in the videos where I say, hey, I'm the probate nurse, that my niche is senior transitions, probate and estate. And if you need to sell any real estate, let me know. So yeah, I don't put that in there. And it's amazing how many people are, what do you really do? So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if I want to put it in there or not. Your thoughts on that?
I'm just, I've been doing probates as a realtor. I've been a realtor for 27 years or so. And I've been doing probates for a little more than 20 years statewide. And just, I'm trying to come up with a domain that connects me nationwide, right? But the domains I'm looking at, just putting the word realty or realtor, to me, I feel like helps, but at the same time, if you don't put realtor or realty, then you might get people that are going to reach out to you for probates, which the benefit for that is what it sounds like is you get you can connect those people with the law firms that you deal with.
Yes.
Correct.
So that I'm still questioning, do I need to put the word realtor or realty in there or not? And I'm just reading I'm looking at your domain or your brand. And I'm just questioning myself right now as I see you.
One thing that I will say about that is if you look at that, you will see Mahara and Associates. My logo is on there for my broker. So it is on all my printed, paperwork and whatnot. So it has to be on there. So people, when I hand them a card or whatnot, they'll see who my broker is. There you go.
That's just a compliance issue. We have that in California as well. We have to have the broker.
Yep,
name
definitely.
And the Department of Real Estate information. In fact, we have to have it on the top
Mhm.
screen. We can't even put it down below.
And then that QR code right there takes you right to my website with Mahara. So I have two different websites. I've got my KV Core like you do, Bill, and then that will take you to there. And then I've got my other one that is more focused on probate.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that I do get people who call me and assume either because of my name or the way they heard me talk that I'm an attorney. I don't mislead anybody. And I'm careful to tell them I can't give you legal advice, I can give you business advice. But I love those conversations because I don't know how it is for you. If you work with really good attorneys, you're really blessed. To me, 10% of the attorneys are great and I learn a lot from them, but 90%, they know less than I do about the real estate part of probate. And in many cases, less about the probate. They might know the law and litigation and civil procedures, but so for me, I feel like I am an expert in probate. And people go, "Oh, you're not an attorney. I'm really surprised you know so much." I love when they say that because I feel that I have locked in. So I don't know that I'm not sure what your plans are, but I wouldn't be too anxious to put realtor, realty to limit what you're doing, because remember the goal is to serve your customer. What's the customer looking for? The customer is looking for you to solve a problem, whatever that might be. Okay, hope that helps a little bit. You're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Habit of muting after I'm done talking, so no distraction or noise. So I'm not saying that I don't want to say I'm a realtor. Like if I don't say I'm a realtor or realty, I still got to put, brokered by eXp Realty, etc. My brokerage, etc. I don't want to say that I'm not a realtor. I'm just trying to see my brand, because right now I'm just the Abdallah team, for example.
Right.
And if I want to brand myself as real estate or probate, or I think not putting realtor but brokered by eXp Realty eventually will get us those conversations where I can then refer them, connect them to the different law firms or lawyers or whoever.
Yeah.
I think it works better without the word. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at you, Melanie, I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. Maybe realtor is not the best way to do this for a brand of probate.
Correct, because you are actually like a resource. You're like a Rolodex. We're going back old school now. You are that level, that vertically integrated platform where you can refer people out to anything. So no matter what that person says to you, you should be able to have some sort of a response back to them saying, "Oh, your house is not in good shape. We definitely have people for that. I can refer you to my contractor. Oh, you don't have an estate planning lawyer? Let me get one for you." And by the way, who's left behind? Is there anybody else in the home? The wife has just passed. We have a husband who needs assisted living. Great. Let me get a consultation with Susan over here at the assisted living, and let's just see what we can help you with. So yeah, it shouldn't really be about the real estate. That's kind of going to be the next step. For me, I don't talk about that right away. I never go in and go right to it. It's just, having been through it myself, I just know that, there's a certain time and a place you don't really want to bring up real estate right away because it'll piss off a lot of people. They're angry, they've just lost their dad or whatever. So, but anyway, using your brand like that is definitely going to allow you to talk about more things than just the real estate. We can talk about helping them with money, whatever they need, whatever it is they need.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure it's true for you too, Al. I talk about a lot of things almost as much as I do real estate. Right. I mean, I talk about a lot, junking out a house and they want to sell certain things and getting rid of the cars and relocate. All these things are things I get involved with. And the real estate, like you, I've done it for a while. I'm pretty efficient with my time on the real estate. I don't spend a lot of time filling out a contract anymore. I don't spend a lot of time doing CMAs. So I think that the accurate position is, we're creating value for the customer in that space. Real estate's the one service I get paid on. The other ones I trade the leads for business in a sense, or, it works out. I don't have any affiliate programs, and I don't ask people for money back, and I don't ask them for referrals back specifically. It just happens that way. So I just think it's, if you really think about what percent of your time do you really spend doing real estate in your probate business versus the other parts of it, it's not 100%. It might be 50, but it's not 100. And that's why to have your name, I think, is just check your thinking on this. I think it might just be you've been thinking that way for a while, but if you rethink it, you're not really doing real estate all day long. I don't think. I assume about your business.
Marketing all day long, marketing, like a machine, for real. That's what it is.
I'm talking to people all day long about their business and how to do more and help them through their problems and challenges and time management. So I think the other thing I would say, Al, if there's one, I'll ask you. The other thing I would say, if I could have one suggestion, is to everybody on the call, not just Al. Again, I know Al, but I don't know him that well. The one mistake agents make is we say we think about things, and what we really mean is we kind of posted a Post-it note on our brain to do something, and we never really think about it. When I say think about it, I mean go in your calendar, block an hour. I have a whiteboard in the next room, and I think about it for an hour, or on my computer on a Google Doc, I'll think about it for an hour, write out an outline and make some notes. So I would just urge all those who are struggling with this issue, what's my niche, or how to make it sound, or it sounds pretty good, but I'm not quite locked in on it. Spend a half hour or an hour of scheduled time, phone off, no distractions, really thinking about it, and get some clarity on it. I'm sorry, Al, I know you want to say something.
No, oh shit, you're absolutely right. I froze. I don't know if my computer froze or whatever. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think the one thing I do spend a lot of time with, and you're right, is talking to my clients about everything except the real estate part. The trash out, clean out, the whatever it may be, estate sale, donation, whatever's involved. I spend a lot of time with them more than I do with the real estate side. And I think the real estate, the attorneys love when I do that for them, because like I told you, Bill, on another call, it reduces their invoice with their client too. So a lot of the realtors and law firms love the fact that I'm spending that extra time, the questions and answers, where they don't got to deal with all that nitty gritty little stuff. Because most attorneys and law firms don't know what we know, the behind the scenes involved in that real estate house part. And I think that's extremely important, that people that are dabbling into this don't just think about it as a commission check, as a sale. Look at it as a service, be service driven, not profit driven.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Solution provider.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how I'd look at it. I'd spend more time.
Whatever their thing is, whatever they need help with, you have a solution, whatever it is. And if you don't, just find someone, just find someone to help them.
And my clients need to get bonded. They have to open an estate account at a bank. I mean, all these are things that I do that other realtors don't even know those things are involved. They don't even, what? Probate bond, what the heck is that? They need a bank account? Why can't they spend their own bank account? So those are things where I think I spend more time with that stuff than I do the real estate. And thanks for Al. I think you froze up there. Thank you so much. Great insight. So a couple of questions in the chat box. Michelle asked, how are you connected to the clients? So I think, I told a story about another woman, Melanie, before, that I know an agent out of South Carolina, North Carolina, kind of a regional area. One day I was coaching her. She was also, had been a nurse, and I was talking about it, but she got out of it to be a realtor. And she, I was going through her business with her, and where did this still come from, where that went. And she had a couple of deals from her best friend, Susie, whatever. Well, what's Susie do? Susie was the sales rep for like a senior rehab center of some sort. And it turned out this center had like 300 or 400 beds, which is huge. And they had 7 such facilities in the regional area. And in her center, they had like 2 or 3 sales reps. So each one had 2 or 3 sales reps times 7. There's like 15 to 20 of her best friends. I said, well, do you talk to any of the others? Right. And she was a nurse. And because she'd been a nurse, her friend was comfortable talking to her about families who would bring mom to the property, and then mom passes and they would come to her, and who do we talk to? And there's a unique relationship that nurses have at those facilities that she was able to make work. I said, well, why don't you invite all the other Susie's friends out to an event? They have regional sales meetings. Why don't you go to it and go to the bar and pick up the bar tab for them that night or something? Or you have 15 new best friends, not just one best friend. So that was where we started. And I think somebody's asking, do you use your nursing as a tool in talking to nurses at facilities? Is that something you approach specifically, or have you?
I do actually. And how this kind of came about for me is when I was home caring for my dad, I started looking online, for senior events and networking events and things like that. And I happened to find a Zoom meeting that was going on like the next day. And so when I jumped on that, I had myself, blacked out. I didn't want anyone to see me. And there was like 7 people on there. And come to find out, it was, it was a really, really great group out of Pasco County, just north of Tampa. And they welcomed me in, and then they started inviting me to all of their events. And a lot of their events take place at assisted livings and nursing homes and whatnot. So that's how I kind of got in with the group of people that I'm working with now. And I met with an estate lawyer who was part of this group. His assistant, Aida, was on this call, and she said, I really want you to come in and meet Michelangelo from Mortallero Law here in Tampa. And when I looked him up, he's like the #1 estate planning lawyer here in Tampa. And I'm like, holy shit, like, really? Are you kidding me right now? So long story short, it has taken a long time to gain that trust and that respect. You can walk the walk and talk the talk, but you have to deal with these people, and you have to keep showing up consistently, and not just one event, but the ones that are way across town as well, and earn that. So what I did today is this is really cool. I organized a meeting at one of the Tampa RIAs over in Clearwater, and we're going to have Michelangelo come and speak, and he's going to be talking about estate planning in protecting your assets. So that's one event. And now we're going to be doing one in my community, which is Northwest Tampa. In this community, we are going to have an estate planning event and have a whole panel of people there talking to people at the local community center, like the library. So this is huge.
And so the branding works with not just the market you're touching, but the way you approach it. See, it wouldn't work for me. I'm not networking with nurses. So, or I'm not networking environment where nurses are held in the high esteem is going to reflect on me. Nothing against nurses, but I'm just saying you got to fit the niche for you. And that's why when you find the right brand, you can hear when she talked about that, when you find that right fit, it just fits like a glove. Wow, this one fits, the other ones don't. So,
and it takes time though, it really does take time to be accepted in, because it's a very tight community. Senior care is very, very tight. It's very well respected. I mean, people are, they're doing some great work, and they want to make sure that you're going to be that person that they want to refer their clients to as well. And you just do your job, show up, and hopefully start getting referrals. So I am building that whole referral base,
nice.
Through this group of people, which is just getting larger and larger and larger.
Fantastic.
So,
now, what you're saying there, though, is basic networking rules are you've got to show up multiple times. There's no event that's going to change your career. There's networking events if you go to every week or every month. And what I find is if you go 3 times, people think you've gone 10 times. You go 10 times, they think you've been there for 3 years. And you get an extra bonus when you show up consistently, but it does take multiple visits in any network environment to do well. Yeah,
and it really can't be about you. It has to be about meeting the needs of the people that you're meeting with, and in that conversation, you might be able to say, well, I'm really interested in learning a little bit more about assisted living and Medicaid. How does that work, and who can I talk to? So I've gone to a bunch of assisted living facilities, and I've toured them with the people who are in sales. And
you do those?
They've talked to me. I actually had a gal here in Orlando. I had a referral to Orlando. So yeah, I mean, you just have to go, and you have to show up, and you have to be present for people and figure out what is missing in their business. And I just explained, hey, I'm a realtor, but I'm not, a realtor. This is what we do. And I'm like, really? So yeah, so that's what I'm really, kind of capitalizing on now here with these estate planning events. We're doing, funeral planning, pre-funeral planning, estate planning, putting homes into trust. Any clients that I have that are buying a home and closing on, I'll send them to Michelangelo or another gal that I have in St. Pete and say, you should think about putting your home in trust, so you don't have to go through this. I work in probate, and they'll say, oh, I'm working with someone who needs your help right now. And I've had calls this week from Ohio and people that need help. I'm getting calls from investors. They don't know anything about the probate thing. So it's just interesting. It just spirals and it just picks up speed. And that's all I can say, you guys. If you pick one thing that you want to roll with, just go with it and stick with it and be consistent. I did this while I was caring for people that were terminally ill. And if I can do this at my computer, anyone can do it. Really, anyone.
You hear the passion in her voice when she talks.
Yep.
It's really
I
inspiring.
love it. I am so excited. And I honestly, I don't even know what to say. It's just opened up such a different world for me. It's about being with people who care and they're compassionate and they welcome you in, and that it's just, they're so thankful.
Just to clear up the chat box, Daniel made a comment about the word realtor. Realtor is a trademark of the National Association of Realtors. So you'd be very careful when you use the word realtor, when you use it, how you use it. You probably can't put it in your branding, even though you could put your name, comma, realtor. Even that's a challenge because some states don't want that specifically. That's just so.
Right.
If you're going to brand yourself, I would not include the word realtor in the brand. It's just very complicated and going to cause too much attention. I think part of it also is if you work for a big company like I do, you don't want the compliance department looking too closely unless you're really ready to spend the time and money to fix everything. Matt Price says he's a certified estate specialist. Everyone believes it's real estate when it's really more tag sales and auctions. That's interesting. Yeah. So estate sales, to me also, I know I have vendors who are in the estate sale business, and I always think of real estate as a estate sale, but it's the opposite. Really, they're selling everything but the real estate. I always tell them, well, good. Well, then just feel free to send the real estate leads to me. I'm glad to help you out with that. But I use them all the time. But I say, again, that's a branding issue. And I think the problem there is that, again, you might not be, that might not distinguish you in the customer's mind because you're describing what you do, but not what problem you're solving for your customer. And so for me, the problem I want to solve is I found consumers confused as to who's the right attorney and how do I fix it. That's why I'm the expert. And in Melanie's case, she found people who were in need and had emotional parts that need to be dealt with in a certain caring way, but yet authoritatively, I think, if I could summarize you, and that's why she's a probate nurse. And so I think when I hear estate sales, I know what it means, but I didn't know what it means for a while. And I think that really you might think about, I've seen people with taglines regarding clutter and organization. I just think that's if you're branding the activity, you would think about the solution to the customer's problem, not your daily activity. We're not, yes, we do certain things. I go in the MLS, but that's not what my customer cares about. They just want to know what's the house worth and can you get that for me? So. Okay, last call for questions. And if you're watching this on live stream, we've got a nice following on YouTube and Facebook. Love to have you guys participate. And if you get on the call on the recording, I'm pretty good, I think, responding to comments. So feel free to ask questions there. And if it's something for Melanie, I'll circulate it to her, and I'm sure she'll be nice enough to answer those as well. Just a quick recap. This is Probate Weekly. We do this every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we live stream it onto YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn and record it there as well. And the companion to this group is the Facebook group called Probate Weekly, where we have 2,900. Please get me to 3,000. I want to stop begging for that, where we get together and referrals, share your probate and estate planning related content. Love to help you grow your audience as well. As far as this program, we also have a YouTube channel. Go to episodes.probateweekly.com. You'll see this episode and all the past episodes. Or you can go to @BillGrossProbate for my YouTube channel and as a whole. And then a reminder again, so appreciative today of Melanie Hands, the probate nurse, and theprobatenurse.com is an easy way to remember where to find her at. So love to see you guys support there. Okay, so Melanie, we're going to wrap up here. I'm going to ask you for kind of your recommendation. So as a realtor who's playing a probate, they sell some houses, they make a living, maybe not as much as they'd like. They've seen probate, they've played with it. They're thinking, maybe I'm going to go all in on this. What should they do to help them find their right spot, their right mission, their right niche in this, so they'll feel as excited about the business as you? What would you recommend them to do?
Yeah, it really is about finding that niche that you really feel comfortable in. And it's going to take a while. But I think, if they're going to go into probate, you just have to know that you have to, number one, master your emotions. You have to really find out from your clients, what their situation is and how you can help them. And if you feel uncomfortable doing it, then I don't recommend it, because it gets really ugly, right? This business can get very ugly with family members and whatnot. If you feel like that you really want to help people and assist families that are going through tragic time, I think, this might be the niche for you. You might be better off doing senior transition, downsizing. Not everyone's made to do probate or, estate or anything like that. And I'm just going to throw out some numbers, but, maybe not the numbers, but what's going on, the boomers are aging out. So you can offer your services as downsizing. You can offer to help them clean out, and do estate sales like we were just talking about. You can help them with the move. You can help them rehab their home. If they want to rent it out, they can pull their money out. There's just so many different things that you can do if you really think about the seniors and what they really truly need. And you can fill that void, because there's not enough of us that are out there actively working with seniors, and they need you. They really, really need you. So again, probate's not for everyone. But there are many things that encompass that, not just probate. So there's a lot of different niches that you can pull from that if you dig a little bit deeper and find out what the needs are of your clients.
So I'll translate that. What Melanie's saying is, if you aren't comfortable with a poopy diaper, don't become a neonatal nurse, right? Or
Do not do it.
And if you are, and you can deal with it, it doesn't bother you, and you feel like you're bringing joy to people's lives by dealing with it, by all means, jump in and do that. So there's many niches. And I think that's the other thing I want to, if I could just modify what you say a little bit and leave everybody with, is the mistake we make as realtors. There's two. One is we go in this business as like it's a job, and we're on a commission check. It's a business. Businesses build equity. Businesses address customers and build followings of clients and customers. And you have to think of it as a business, number one. And I think the second, wow, I just lost my train of thought of that. First one is it's a business, and the second one is, never mind. The first one's too good. We'll just leave it at that. Think about this as a business. Build your equity, find your niche, serve that value there regularly. And I know the second one is, I feel like in probate, we get sold by these companies that the only way to do business is you have to be a cold caller. You have to buy our data, and cold call or cold email or cold mail or cold text. I'm going to do a whole piece on these texts I've been getting lately as an executor. You can design your business that works for you, that you went to. Look at the joy in Melanie's voice when she talks about these meetings she's putting together and how she dresses people. We all deserve to work and have that joy that we in turn give to our customers and clients because we're happy with what we do, not because we're doing it because we have to grind out 4 hours a day of cold calls on the phone. So I want to leave you guys with that lesson: is find your niche, and then it's not that you won't work the rest of your life, because there's still work, but it will be much more pleasant. Fantastic. Okay, good. Melanie, thank you so much for your time today. The probatenurse.com. For the rest of you, thank you for being on the call today. Probateweekly.com every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Love having you guys. Thank you so much. Reach out if I can help you at Bill Gross Probate, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Bill.